everyone. Happy weekend. I'm going to show you some Etsy printables of mermaids for month May, which is almost over, and these are the ones I have left. I have not gotten to. I've done so many. A lot of them were books, and I might not get to do all these, unfortunately. I have to pick maybe 3 out of these 5 or 6. Well, actually, one of them is not a mermaid, but and then I'm going to show you the flip through of these 2 new Buster activity books. You would have seen in a recent haul I did, the ballet one. These are kind of unique finds. They're a little harder to find. I think they might only have one of them on Amazon, and then sometimes you can get them on Amazon from a secondhand seller. You can get them on eBay. But the princess one is my favorite, and this one's pretty cool too. And I'm still waiting on another one, which is a winter ice land castle scenario. So we'll do that in a minute. But first I just wanted to show you some of these printables I have here from Etsy. And actually I have a couple of Hannah Lynn's new Patreon pages. This one I'm torn on doing because I can't quite figure out how to do the water versus lighting. We have some light streaks here. You know, if I color the rocks gray for rocks, you know, or coral color or whatever, there's really no room to do any blue for water. Ocean bottom, you know, obviously you can do sand color. So it's just, I haven't quite figured out. You know, I had some thoughts about doing a few different light colored gray markers, a little darker back here in the cavern, a lighter here, alcohol marker, and then coloring everything else. And then taking a pan pastel and a light blue and washing it over, kind of like I just don't know how that would look, like a haze. Or just forget the concept of putting anything that looks like water and just color it. I don't know. So that's messing with my mind a little bit, so I can't quite figure that out. So, but this one's called Mermaid Treasure Hunter, and I believe that's on Etsy. This one's really neat. I love this one. Obviously, I don't like how it printed in kind of a box and left too much paper and white space. I might cut off the top. There's some words here. And just all kinds of neat coral and really pretty soft grayscale, and easy to do some water because there's not a lot of white space. This one, I don't remember what it's called. If I can find these, I'll link them below. This obviously is Deborah Muller, Mermaid. I think this one came from might have been from it was either her new fantasy box or the one from last year, as I recall. This one I might not do. It has too many details. I don't think I'll have time, but I do like it. Oh yeah, see, this isn't my paper. This came from one of her fantasy boxes. This is Dear Kirkasoy's new Patreon for May, which I love. If you're a part of her Patreon, it's only a few bucks a month, and I love her pictures. I did this on my Copic A4 paper, so it's a little more cream and a bigger size. Definitely going to do this one. Wait till you see all the ones I've done. They're just waiting now for some finishing touches. This is actually Hannah Lynn's second bonus picture for the May for Patreon members, which is Candy Girl. And I don't know why they printed funny with less white on top and more on the bottom. I don't know why it's doing that on my printer. It's never done that before, and I can't figure out why. It's driving me nuts. This one's really cute. It's not a mermaid, and it's probably more for summer, so I'll probably just save it for next month. It's really cute though. And this is her actual Mer Month one, which I will do for sure from the Patreon for earlier in May. Same issue, you see, like that, what it did up top there, and then on the bottom. And you can see it's weird though, because sometimes I feel like Hannah Lynn, how do I put this? I feel like it cheats creativity, because sometimes her face is so huge, it takes up 3/4 of the picture, so she doesn't have to think of a lot else what to put on there, and you just get, you know, like pick face after face after face on every page. And sometimes I don't like it. Just gets to be, and it's always the exact same face, And I love her Whimsy Girls, you know, and some of her books, like The Holidays, The Whimsy Girls Around the World. The Whimsy Girls Around the World, you get lots of different details and scenes and settings and locations, but her Patreon ones tend to be mostly giant portrait faces, and I just get over, it gets old a little. I'm noticing more and more. So I would like if she could get a little more creative. This is weird, this tiny little tail up here. It's like it's coming out of her neck. I don't even know. I don't understand that. So I think she just pumps these out quickly sometimes. They always tend to be released a little late also from her usual promise date. Oh man, I'm sick. Okay. We're going to do these. Let's do the princess one. It's my favorite. They do some littler kids ones too. This is the ballet one that I reviewed, but I like this one better. And these are very like fantasy type, whimsical, kind of girly, cute. And they're smaller books. They're not like a full 8.5 by 11. They are double-sided. Oh my gosh, I have a wicked infection going on right now, and a side effect from my surgery 8 weeks later that finally decided to creep up. I'm sick as a dog. I'm on these, I had like 101 and 103 degree fever for like 4 days this week. Terrible headache, and then now I'm on those antibiotics that make you 10 times sicker and destroy your gut and all these other problems. It's like a lose-lose situation, and they're not even working. I think it's just preventing me from becoming septic or something. I had this, oh, I love these. I haven't actually looked at these yet, these little portraits. Yeah, because I had the preventative double mastectomy back in March and got expanders put in. No problem, hardly no pain, no infection, no nothing. 8 weeks of fills every 10 days. They, you know, stretch out the expanders until it gets to the size you want. No problem, no pain, no infection, no nothing. Got to my last fill. Oh, that's like Rapunzel. My last fill when I was at like the size I wanted. And last Friday, 3 days later, I just woke. I was rolling around in bed in the morning, and I had a heavy weight feeling on my chest on one side. Like it went through to my back. Couldn't lift myself out of bed. I was like, what's going on? Then I was going to the bathroom, and suddenly it was like, oh, I had these waves of nausea, and like there was no real redness at the time, but as the day went on, like later that evening, I noticed, and it was like, oh, it's turning bright, like really red on certain areas all over the, not really on it, but around the edges kind of it. And I was like, what the heck? And then, yeah, fevers. That went on for 2 days. And then I finally called a plastic surgeon. I'm like, I think there's a problem. And I emailed them some pictures. I'm super out of breath too. I think it's from the fever or something. I emailed them some pictures, and they're like, you better come in. So I went in, and it was Tuesday, and they already had booked me a surgery for Wednesday. And no, I went in on, what's today? Oh my God, I'm totally out of it. Oh yeah, I know, I went in on Thursday. And they're like, we booked you a surgery for later today because we're going to have to take it out, take the expander out, and you're going to have to start all over again once the infection heals. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was all the way at the end, no problems. And I go in there, and they had prescribed me the antibiotic the day before, and only had like one pill. It had barely been 24 hours. And I think it took down a little redness, you know. And of course, I took my temperature in the office, and it was 98.7 because I'd taken Tylenol an hour before. I hadn't really thought that through. So they're like, well, you know, we can probably cancel that surgery slot today. See if the antibiotics will work, you know, I mean, but still 85% chance that thing's gonna have to come out. But you know, that means there's a 15% chance that it won't. So I'm like, okay, let's try that. And sure enough, like the next day it just got worse again. And now he's out of town, the plastic surgeon, for the 3-day weekend. And it is literally not improved. It's not worsening because I think because of the antibiotics, but I am maintaining my misery. Oh man, you'd think I'd do anything to feel better, but it's like, I really do not want to have to start that all over again. Because it's like they're going to take it out, and then you have to wait 3 months for it to heal, or make sure it's healed before they can, and you have to like be mismatched, you know, like, and then you have to go in and have another surgery. So you have to have surgery, have to take him back out. Then you have to go back in 3 months, have another surgery to put the new expander back in and start the 8-week fill process all over again and hope you don't get a second infection. And then you have to have another surgery to exchange it for both the implants. And I only had 1 surgery left, which was to get the implants. Now I have suddenly 3 surgeries. So I'm just like, what? I don't understand. And he gave me some cockamamie story. I'm like, how did this coincidentally happen 3 days after my last fill? And I told him I'd had a problem with a mild, was getting a root canal done, like an old root canal that had been done that was infection localized in the root like 2 weeks before. And he's trying to give me some cockamamie story. He thinks my tooth caused it. That's a whole other story. So that is the end of that book. I really like it. It is obviously one you have to do with pencil. You know, and I don't know. I mean, supposedly these are supposed to be for kids, but they're way too many details for kids. These are like most of the adult coloring books that I see, and I love them. I love this one way more than the ballet one. All right, let's look at this one. I haven't seen this one either. The Fashion Through the Ages. Oh my God, my appetite is tanked. It's like the anti-appetite, and then, but you have to eat or the antibiotics make you sick to your stomach. What was I saying? Oh, this is interesting. Ancient Egypt. Beaded necklaces. 19th Dynasty. Ancient Greece. Yeah, because I'd had to take amoxicillin 2 weeks before because I had a teeny little bit of a bump, like barely could feel it, and like bite sensitivity on a back molar. Went to the endodontist. He's like, well, it's a root canal, has to be retreated. It's got some bacteria that probably got trapped in there at the time of the root canal. That was helpful 10 years ago. And he gave me antibiotics, finished out 2 weeks before. And now suddenly the plastic surgeon says it's because of that. Now it traveled through my mouth, through my body, and landed in my implant area. That's just such a cockamamie story. Ancient Rome. Ancient Roman sandals. Oh, I love the medieval stuff. Medieval rings. So I called the endodontist. I'm like, look, the plastic surgeon is giving me this cockamamie story because obviously it's not their fault. I suspect it got infected from the last fill, either through the port, or like the little magnet where they put in the needle, or they didn't clean the skin good enough. I don't even remember if they did because I wasn't paying attention. This is Poland medieval, England medieval. Endodontist is like, it is highly, highly unlikely, if not probably not impossible, because the implant area is a localized pocket that's not getting a blood flow. And so for it to get infected on the inside of that from something somewhere else in the body is extremely unlikely. And there's no research ever that shows that that can happen. If you have, oh, I love the Italian Renaissance stuff. Countryside Renaissance. If you have a massive tooth abscess where it's bulging out in your gums, like a pocket of pus and bacteria to where you get like a bad taste in your mouth and that kind of thing, yeah, that could probably, that could go other places in your body. And it's typically just going to make you feel sick. It's not going to land on your skin, and certainly not that area. So I called the plastic surgeon back and I told him, well, this is what the endodontist said. And he disagreed. So I'm like, look, obviously you each think you're right, and you have research about your profession that the other party doesn't have. So y'all need to talk to each other because this is not my problem. That's what I said. Italy, Italian Renaissance. Europe feathered fans. I mean, obviously there was always a risk of complications for any kind of medical stuff, but it's like, my point is, if he thinks it's from my mouth and it wasn't, he's not going to look for another cause to make sure it doesn't happen again with the second time around. And that was my concern. And ironically, I haven't even gotten the root canal done yet. Like, I still have to do that next week. I'll probably be too sick to do it. Oh, man. Doctors. In the end, it should all turn out fine, but I'll have it. Right, everything was like literally perfect. I mean, it was like, this has been the easiest kind of medical thing I've ever done, this whole thing. And it was super easy. And now it's like, just kidding, right at the end. Psych. Europe, 17th century. She's got quite a ugly face. This is kind of fun, actually. North America, okay. You know, I'm happy how many details there are in here, and I like how they identify the time period. What's upsetting to me is I'm going to have anxiety the whole time around, the second time around we try, thinking it's going to happen again, thinking about it. And there's a whole mind-body connection. So if you're constantly thinking about it, it's probably going to happen. So I have to hope that doesn't happen. Reign of Louis the 18th century, France hats. And also, you know, sometimes the second time around you can't quite expand or stretch the skin as much, so you might have to go with smaller implants, which is odd because the other side is perfectly fine. It was at the final size. It was like a D cup size or something. So now it's like, okay, so they redo the other side and they finally get it, and it only goes to C cup side. Now what? Now when you take them out to put in the implants, you got too much skin on the one size that would have been a D cup implant. So what do? Then you have to cut off some of the skin and more scar tissue. It's just like, no wonder they make so much money, these plastic surgeons. Because people have to go in so many times to get it right. You get paid for multiple surgeries over and over again. Germany. That's an interesting wardrobe. This looks like a pleated skirt. I want to see the 1950s poodle skirt. I love those. Holland, 19th century. Scotland, 19th century. Tartan scarves. That makes me think of Outlander, my favorite show. So anyway, since I've been sick as a dog, I finally forced myself to binge watch the Bridgerton series and the Queen Charlotte. And you know, I love time period stuff usually, so I have no idea why I wouldn't watch them. I was against it, so I started with Queen Charlotte, loved it, watched it all one day. That's how sick I was. It was like 6 episodes at one day. I'm almost done with the first season of Bridgerton, and I like Queen Charlotte. I think was better, but it is good, and that's as far as I gotten. So I'll probably be on to season 2 in the next day or two if I survive that long. India. We're into India and Turkey, Ottoman period, 19th century. This would be a good book for, if, you know, middle-aged kids that are homeschooling. If you're studying like cultures around the world, there's some artwork, coloring for studying fashion for certain time periods. Civil War, England, Victorian period. That would be period of Bridgerton. Bridgerton is fantasy fiction based on fact. Inspired by fact. So there are facts in there, but fictionalized things. Obviously, Shonda Rhimes did it, so you know, you do see some things in that show that probably would have happened in that time period, but you know, that's okay. Chicago, USA, 1920s. Ooh. Love this. 1950s New York, USA. Makes me think of Lucy. I love Lucy, my favorite show. And that's it. Britain, 1960s. That's an odd choice. Okay. So, I wish I had the ballet one to show you side by side. I didn't have the energy to go fishing for it on my shelves. But these two, if I can find any available ones currently, when I post this video from Amazon, I'll link them. So check down in the more comments. If not, just you can seek them out on eBay. And there's a ton of them on eBay. They're like all over the place. So hope you guys enjoyed watching. I'm in the middle of tomorrow I'm going to release a video reviewing my new King Art 120 alcohol marker set. in its carrying case, and a color along in Dara Kerkersoy's Color in Oceans for Mer Month, and I've been working on that. I was working on that before I got sick. I almost was done. I'm gonna try to finish it up. I'm up to it today, and I'm gonna release that video tomorrow, whether I finish it or not. So keep an eye out for that video. Thanks everybody, and hope you enjoyed.